Welcome to another episode of Viva. Here are the 5 stories you need to know today. Let's start with the big story regarding our Prime Minister, and it's not about him receiving his latest grandchild. Rather, it's his invitation to the White House by none other than President Donald Trump. This is not the first time a Malaysian Prime Minister has been invited to Washington, the last being Pak Lah being invited by Obama. During that time, the primary discussion was of course the TPPA. Remember, President Obama also came to Malaysia twice to discuss the same issue. Right now, President Donald Trump has kicked that accord out of the window, so the question remains, what will PM Najib discuss with Trump and whether that discussion will be made known to the public? US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson has come to Malaysia last month, and of course not just Malaysia, he also went to the Philippines and Thailand. Is it because of them trying to assert their power in the South China Sea, or is it because of something else? There's also an interest between you and me because the visa waiver program is also on the table for discussion. Will PM Najib raise the question to President Trump regarding the visa waiver program? If it means that it's travel to US without any visa, it's great news for us. The core question, of course, revolves around Malaysian companies that might have future interests in the US. Today, 2 important Malaysian companies have introduced their financial results, the first being Sime Darby. Sime Darby made their 4th quarter financial report with a big disclaimer, being that the 2 companies under the Sime Darby group, that is the Sime Darby Property Berhad and Sime Darby Plantation Berhad, they will have discontinued operations going forward from their following report. This is important because these 2 companies, Sime Darby Property and Sime Darby Plantation, is planned to go for listing at the end of this year. So this makes it a big story. Why? Because this could make Sime Darby, the bigger group, receive a larger amount of cash following the listing of their 2 subsidiaries. Apparently, their financial results have hit 11% above their KPI. Their return on average shareholder equity is also up 7%, and this resulted in net earnings of 2.44 billion ringgit. These are substantial figures to be reported. And of course, this translated to their top line because their profit before income tax has resulted to close to 3.5 billion ringgit. Is all good with Sime? And if so, is the listing of the 3 companies going to make sense? The next company that also made the announcement today is of course Petronas. Petronas made a pledge that they will raise their dividend payment to the government by 3 billion ringgit. That means that the initial promise to pay 13 billion ringgit of the total dividend payment for this year will now be 16 billion. This pales in comparison to previous dividend payments made by government, but of course 16 billion ringgit is a lot of money for the government to receive from Petronas, considering that the oil and gas business is not so great. Speaking about the oil and gas business, Sarawak and their newly created Sarawak Petroleum Company, Petros, has now announced a new chairman. Tan Sri Hamid Bugo is their man, and this man, of course, is going to be quite interesting. He was the former State Secretary of Sarawak. He has worked with Malaysia LNG before. He brings with him a wealth of experience to spearhead this company moving forward. They still haven't announced the new CEO, but that's fine. The aim and the main objective of Petros being created is to create jobs in Sarawak. Whether or not they will be able to do it is another matter. We spoke to a Sarawak-based oil and gas company, Serba Dynamic, and asked him whether or not this is indeed going to be the case.
The expertise and the experience and all the other capabilities to take onto this big chapter shows a level of confidence and capability of the people of Sarawak. Secondly, it also will help to speed up the developments of the state Sarawak itself.
The search and rescue operations of USS John McCain is now suspended. Efforts to find the missing sailors, the 10 dead missing sailors, will no longer be an active operation. The larger question remains, has the US lost their edge in their dominance of naval superiority? We'll keep an eye on this story. That's it from me, and you're watching Viva.